this solo exhibition is the third one, I think, from Claudia with us. And but it's the first time that she had an exhibition in this space. We used to have it in Bondi Junction, so something different again. And she came up with this new series of work called Final Curtain. So she, as some of you know, she actually took a lot of people to go on tours to look at Art Deco buildings and so on. So I actually suggested you should join one of the tours. And this is and this is what she did on one of the trips. She found this disused theater cinema, and she basically did this series of works based on that, you know, what's in the interior. And it's quite an interesting series of work, and she printed a lot of them on wallpaper to show a sort of context. And so anyway, to open the exhibition is Nick Stathopoulos. He's 5 times Archibald.
8 times.
8 times! I lost count. Sorry, 8 times.
I need to update my.
Yeah, okay. I just quickly look at the website. It says 5 times, so I just said 5 times. I think you're regular there. You're regular there. So we look forward to. I'm sure you win one of these days as well. But anyway, he does these really beautiful, virtually photorealistic portraits, and they're so detailed that it's incredible. So he's going to open the exhibition for Claudia. I'd like you all to give him a warm welcome.
I'm glad I'm not one of those straight trees. Very tree. A few years ago, I had the singular honour of having Claudia open one of my shows, and so it's a real pleasure to be able to reciprocate that. My problem is, and as every artist knows, we're really busy. I've been so busy lately that I'm thinking, oh, what am I going to... I had no idea what to say. I had no idea what to do. So I resorted, and I'm not ashamed to say it, I resorted to going to an artificial intelligence site. And I probably don't need this one.
Okay.
I decided to go to an artificial intelligence site, and because artificial intelligence now is so good and accurate, I thought I'd feed a few prompts and see what happens. And this is what I got. So, to quote ChatGPT or whatever it's called, star of screen and radio, Claudia Chan Shaw was created by Dr. Tenma, head of the Ministry of Science in Tokyo, where she became fully operational in 2057. Her programming includes photo and installation artist, curator, fashion designer, broadcaster, and author. With her affinity with all things robotic, Chinese New Year is an especially special time for Claudia, who celebrates the occasion with the designing of a special robot in honour of each year's Chinese zodiac animal. It's kind of clever.
Yeah, this is true. That's correct.
She has to date created a robotic rat, a robotic bunny, a robotic ox, and even a robot budgie. She has...
The year of the budgie.
The year of the budgie. She was also instilled with a love of Art Nouveau and Art Deco architecture, which sees her scouring the world, searching for and documenting fabulous examples, which sadly diminish with each passing year. She's a published author, and her book on the subject, Deco Beauties and Where to Find Them, has been particularly popular amongst developers. Her other book, Kleptomania and How to Create an Instant Collection, resulted in numerous arrests around the country. In France, where she is lauded as a national treasure, she has been awarded the Legion d'Honneur by President Popitou-Lautrec for services to the arts, the highest honour that can be accorded to a non-French, non-human. In Belgium, where her image adorns many public buildings, her exploits have been documented by the great bande dessinée artist, that's comic for those who don't know that, great bande dessinée artist, Hergé Wihola, in numerous volumes that have been published throughout the world. They follow the exploits of an eternally teenage fashionista, Chan Chan, and her canine companion, Milu, Barry White in English translation. I think that's a valid reference to your husband.
Barry Stewart.
Barry Stewart. After a brief affair with Humphrey Bogart, she settled in her adopted country of Austria, where her gregarious nature and fabulous fashion sense made her a popular and in-demand celebrity, hosting numerous television and radio shows, and she's currently the host and producer of the long-running series Antiques Roadshow. I don't think we have anything to worry about. But more seriously, it's always a joy and a real honour to have a fellow artist ask you to open this show, and I'm delighted to open Claudia's. And by the way, if you think the work looks fabulous on the walls here, think how much more fabulous they're going to look on your walls. Yeah. So thank you, Claudia.
Thank you, Nick Stokopoulos.
So we should always believe everything we read on the internet, right?
Yep, definitely.
Especially my appearances in Belgium and Austria. So thank you so much, everybody who's come to our openings today. It's lovely to see you here on this glorious day. You could be playing sport, but most of you are artists, so I think maybe that's not going to happen. I'm very, very excited to be showing here at Art Atrium again, and I just want to take you on a little journey. In the 17th century, doctors in Switzerland discovered a new disease, and that disease was called nostalgia. And that is true. They named this terrible malady nostalgia, and it was this obsession with the past, things and objects from the past. And to treat nostalgics, they gave them either opium or leeches to drag this terrible, terrible thing out of them. Now, fortunately today, nostalgia is not considered an illness, but if anybody is a collector, and I'm looking at you, Nick Stokopoulos, and others, you will know that nostalgia is what really got us where we are today. So with this series, I was watching telly last night, and I was watching Midnight in Paris. And I've seen this movie so many times. I'm seeing some nods there. You've seen the film. It's a Woody Allen film, but don't hold that against me. And it's from 2011. And in the film, Owen Wilson plays a screenwriter who goes to France, and he's captivated and fascinated by Paris in the 1920s. And he wants to go back in time. He goes back in time, and he gets to meet all of his creative heroes like Hemingway and Scott and Zelda Fitzgerald and Man Ray and all these wonderful people in Paris in the 20s. And one of the characters in the film said the problem with him was that he suffered from nostalgia. And nostalgia was golden age thinking, in that the era previously was better than the era that you were living in. And I could relate to that film very much. Not that I feel that the eras I'm interested in from the early 20th century are better, but just that they are so very, very captivating. So my series, Final Curtain, starts with an abandoned Art Deco theatre in regional New South Wales. And I've been sworn to secrecy. I'm not allowed to say where it is, because the building will be developed, and the owners didn't want me to reveal the state that the building was currently in. So I found this theatre while I was doing a range of lectures for the Australian Decorative and Fine Arts Society, ADFAS. And the host said to me, I can get you into this abandoned Art Deco theatre. Do you want to be there? Oh, do I? Yes, please. So I got inside, and I was in heaven, because here was this empty space. The only sound was woo, woo. They were like this. So the rafters were full of pigeons. They were flapping birds. And if you looked at the seats in the abandoned theatre, some of them were still standing, but others looked like a giant had leant on them. So they were just a little bit wonky, a little bit falling over. And then you went to the projection room, and in the projection room, the projections, the machines were all lined up like soldiers, waiting for their orders to show you that next film. And it was a film that would never be shown. And then there was reels of film that was sitting on the table or lying on the floor, and that was the next film that was never going to be seen, or the piece of stained paper that had the running time for the last film that was shown in the theatre. And so I'm in heaven here, looking around at this wonderful abandoned space, imagining the stories that are behind each object. And when you walked in, it was as if somebody had called coffee break, and everybody just put down their tools, left the ladder against the wall. The broom was still lying there against the wall. They went off for the coffee break, but they never returned. And that was my feeling inside this wonderful abandoned space, because I find great beauty in the abandoned and the left behind and the stories that I imagine might be there. Also in the series, as well as the abandoned Art Deco theatre, are some photographs from Cuba, which is the ultimate step back in time, neglected place, and also flea markets in Paris or vintage shops that trade in other people's memories, because I love that whole feeling of going back in time and imagining the stories that might have been before. The images are printed on wallpapers and linoleum to give you the feeling of stepping back into that theatre. These might have been the wallpapers or the lino on the floor that so many thousands of feet trampled on or leant against those walls. And they degrade the images even further. They knock back the strength of the image to give you the feeling that we have stepped back in time. So that is Final Curtain. And I always encourage people on my tours when we go looking at Art Deco or Art Nouveau to look up, don't forget to look down, peek through doorways and look down corridors, because that's where the stories lie, even if they may be in the midst of decay. Thank you.
Thanks, Claudia. So continue to enjoy this exhibition, and then we'll be over the other side very soon to open the third one. Thanks.